Hello everyone out there, this is Bob with Thrive Wellness, and this is our second wellness presentation done via YouTube installment. Today we'll be talking about effective habits for weight management. So a number of healthy tips and strategies you can use to help lose weight and keep it off. During our discussion today, we'll talk a little bit about energy balance, so some variation of calories in and calories out, and how that impacts our ability to maintain weight over time. Is it necessary to know your calorie needs when we're talking about weight management? We'll talk about the importance of our hunger and satiety hormones in governing weight management. We'll shift gears a little bit at that point, talk about the importance of goals and accountability. So really starting to dive into the lifestyle habits involved with weight management. Habits and life hacks and tricks for weight management, we'll touch on that as well. And I'm really big on the importance of putting a plan together. So what is my plan? So putting it all together. So if you're not successful in developing a long-term plan, it's really difficult to reach the goals that you're aiming for. So we'll talk about planning ahead to be successful. Energy is defined broadly as the capacity to do work. Energy is required by the body to carry out virtually every single function that takes place, from walking to digesting food to building proteins in the body. It all requires energy. And energy, of course, is derived from the foods we eat. So we measure energy in terms of calories, which is a form of measurement. So calorie is defined as the energy required to raise 1 kilogram of water 1 degree Celsius. So we think of a calorie, of course, as a unit of food energy. So there are 400 calories in this slice of pizza, or 150 calories in this can of soda. So it's kind of difficult, really, to have the discussion about energy without it leading into how energy and the energy density in the foods that we eat impact our ability to maintain our weight. Energy balance and weight management. So it's said that we are in energy balance when the body utilizes as many calories as consumed from all food sources. So this would be the example of I need 2,000 calories to maintain my weight, and I've eaten 2,000 calories. So I've consumed 2,000 calories and burned 2,000 calories. So that's perfect energy balance. Positive calorie balance is described as burning fewer calories than consumed. So this might be the same example. I need 2,000 calories to maintain my weight. I've taken in 2,500 calories, but I've only burned off 2,000. So over time, that's a situation or a scenario that can lead to weight gain. Negative calorie balance is described as burning more calories than are consumed. So this over time is going to lead to weight loss. So for any dieters out there, anybody interested in losing weight, we definitely want to be able to achieve that negative calorie balance. So that brings us to the age-old question: is weight loss simply a matter of balancing calories in and calories out? So another way of looking at that might be, if I need 1,500 calories to lose weight, say 2,000 calories is my maintenance zone. If I eat 1,500 calories worth of refined carbohydrates, sweets, and junk food, am I going to get the same results if I eat 1,500 calories worth of lean meats, fruits and vegetables, and whole grains? Conventional wisdom 40, 50, 60 years ago would have likely said, doesn't matter, 1,500 calories worth of junk foods, 1,500 calories worth of fruits and vegetables, doesn't matter, as long as energy is balanced, you're good to go, you're going to see the weight loss. However, the more that has been learned about the importance of the biochemical interactions that go on in our body and how our body responds to certain foods and how hormones play such an important role in weight management, it's now understood that absolutely it matters the type of calories and quality of calories that we eat in terms of our ability to get the most out of our weight loss effort. Hormones, hunger, and weight management. So appetite and the regulation of appetite is a very, very complex apparatus. So these four hormones that we'll focus on tend to do most of the work, but if you want to really break it down, there's 20 or more different hormones and mechanisms that are involved in balancing appetite. So the four key ones that we'll look at are insulin, glucagon, leptin, and ghrelin. So we'll look at leptin first. So leptin is the satiety hormone. It's secreted by the fat cells when blood sugar is high. So leptin's job is telling you that you're full, right? Stop eating. Ghrelin's job as the hunger hormone is secreted by the stomach when blood sugar is low. So ghrelin's job is telling you we're low on energy stores, it's time to eat, we need blood sugar. So leptin and ghrelin work together very closely with the next two hormones, glucagon and insulin. We'll talk about insulin first. So in the fed state, so just after a meal, insulin levels typically run high. Insulin's job is to pull glucose out of the bloodstream and into the muscle and into the liver to be utilized as energy. So insulin does a few things. Insulin signals the body to use glucose as energy, and it also is a storage communicator. So if insulin is high, it's telling our body to store energy as fat and utilize the glucose that's immediately available. So leptin, the satiety hormone, and insulin work very closely together. So insulin is signaling utilize the energy that you just brought into the body and store the excess. And at the same time, leptin is telling you stop eating. We have enough energy, stomach is full, we're good to go. So that brings us to the hormone glucagon. So glucagon's focus is really opposing what insulin does in the body. So when blood sugar levels begin to dip off a fair length of time after a meal, glucagon tells the body to utilize stored components as energy. So this is going to come in the form of glycogen, which is a stored glucose in the muscles. And also, if glycogen stores are empty, then glucagon signals the body to begin to utilize stored fat as energy. So glucagon and ghrelin, the hunger hormone, tend to kind of work again in conjunction with one another. If you're in the fasted state and glucagon is beginning to kick in, that's about the same time you're going to notice those typical hunger pangs that you get when your stomach is empty. And that's when ghrelin, the hunger hormone, is signaling that you need to bring calories into the body. Okay, so why the fascinating discussion on these hormones? Well, it turns out the foods that we choose play a big role in helping us get these hormones to work in our favor. For instance, if we choose foods that tend to spike insulin, refined carbohydrates, sugary rich foods, foods that have a lot of energy, once we spike insulin, as a result of the foods we eat, that signals the body to store energy as fat. So again, just choosing the wrong foods can signal our body to actually store the calories we're bringing in as fat. Conversely, if we choose the right types of foods that tend to keep our blood sugar and our insulin levels more stable over time, things like whole grains, things like beans, things like fruits and vegetables, lean meats. If we're making these choices, that's keeping our insulin levels more steady over time, and that's actually allowing glucagon to do some of its work when blood sugar does dip a little low. Then we can start utilizing some of the stored energy, i.e. fat, as energy, and that's when weight loss can occur. So, what food choices and habits actually cause insulin spikes and hunger swings over time? So, we just learned a moment ago when we spike insulin, that signals the body to store excess calories. A number of foods put us in that situation. Sugar rich foods, simple carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates like white breads, pasta, big portions of white rice, snack foods, especially sweets. These are the types of foods that can cause, again, those blood sugar spikes and corresponding insulin spikes. Also, just simply too large of a portion size, too many calories at any one time, again, will cause that insulin surge and that corresponding desire of the body to store calories. So, if the goal is to maintain blood sugar and maintain insulin levels, what foods should I choose to do that? Well, the key really is fiber content in the carbohydrates that you're eating. So, if you're choosing fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts and seeds, lean meats, healthy fats, which help keep us full, and making sure that your portion sizes are appropriate. These are the type of foods and habits that are going to help keep your blood sugar stable over time, which in turn can help those hormones work in your favor and help you maintain your weight. So this graphic illustrates what might happen in the body when we eat two different types of meals. So meal A is going to be a meal that is high in refined carbohydrates, i.e. white breads, pasta, simple snack foods, or sugar-rich foods. So you can see as we eat those foods, what happens? The blood glucose begins to climb very quickly. And that also creates a similar climb in insulin. And remember what happens when insulin is high. Insulin tells our body to store fat. And then as blood glucose levels begin to drop off, as insulin is doing its job and pulling that glucose into the muscles, into the liver, you begin to see that the glucose levels drop off. And that's when you typically get those low blood sugar cravings. So when your diet most frequently consists of a lot of simple carbohydrates, sugar-rich foods, and larger portions, what tends to happen is you get these very high peaks and valleys of blood sugar. So that creates a situation in the body where body wants to store fat as insulin levels and glucose levels are high. Then you bottom out. And what happens at that point is you get sugar cravings, you get carbohydrate cravings. So again, this creates this cycle where you are storing fat and facilitating hunger, and storing fat and facilitating hunger. So conversely, meal B is going to be a meal that is going to include some healthy high fiber carbohydrates. That might be a whole grain bread. That might be fruits and vegetables. That might be beans. That might be nuts and seeds. It might include some lean meats. But these foods are not going to be apt to spike blood sugar levels, and they're not going to create a corresponding spike in insulin. So these foods are going to be more likely to keep your blood sugar stable, keep your insulin levels stable. So again, that's not going to signal the body to store fat. It's going to create more consistent energy throughout the time of the day, and it's going to help you maintain weight.